I'm up at the campus
Oh,
and I've seen the work-based learning waters in the fridge. So what I determined was, just so you know, I took a water. I took one of your waters, but as a result, I've
you have to
decided
be nice to me now.
I will not heckle during
Oh,
the.
okay. Well, if that's what it cost for
Yeah.
the no heckling, Josh, you might want to keep notes about this for tomorrow.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Super. We'll get started in just a couple minutes.
Shauna, can I start with a screen share, or did you need to present something before?
I am going to pull mine up just for a little bit, but I just enabled you to be able to do that as soon as my part is done. It'll be just a quick one, just a short minute or so. So while we're waiting, as folks are still logging in, I'm curious if any of you have done the Goal 9 shout out yet. Put a thumbs up either in the chat or in your on your screen reaction. Anyone done a Goal 9.6 shout out? Super. Thank you, Casey and Linda. Those are the ones I see at the moment. Let's see here. It takes, and Carolee, it takes just a quick 2 minutes, if that. Am I right, Carolee? Not very long at all. Just, and I would just encourage you just to take a minute to acknowledge your coworkers. They receive that. So at the end, till next week, we'll go through and send everyone who got a shout out some feedback. And in previous years, some people have said that it is the highlight of their year. Like it is just a really neat thing to do, and just love the opportunity to share more about how others are making a difference through the Goal 9 principles. All right. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca sent through the shout out form. So, all right, 12:15. Welcome to Wednesday Strategic Planning Week. We have an exciting presentation ahead. You can see my screen okay, I assume? Okay, perfect. Yeah. Looked it all right on my end, just checking. So we've had multiple activities and presentations so far this week, and today is no different. The purpose of Strategic Planning Week is all about pausing to reflect and celebrate just the transformative work that's happening across the college in a variety of areas. And today is no different. We have Marguerite Himmelberg from the Office of Work-Based Learning. I think that this is one amazing and new example of how the college has been providing dynamic and responsive pathways to career, technical, academic transfer, continuing ed programs. They serve as a key part of that work. So welcome, Marguerite. I'm going to stop sharing my presentation, so you should be able to share your screen now. For those of attendees, if you have any questions, feel free to pop those in the chat or using the Q&A at the bottom, and then I can let Marguerite know if there's questions along the way or at the end of the presentation. But just appreciate your willingness to share more about the Office of Work-Based Learning with us, Marguerite. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shauna. I'm really excited to be able to share some of this with all of you. Hopefully you're seeing my screen that shows our mission, which is creating pathways for all. Some of you maybe are already aware of this, and we just had a newsletter that was published last week from our office. So hopefully some of you had a chance to see that. But it's been a real exciting, I guess now 11 months since we started this office. And from this vantage point, I guess we've really learned a lot. First of all, about the complexity of some of the projects that we're working on. And I'm thinking of Rodisms. Those of you who work with Rod Rhodes know he's very witty and he comes up with these great expressions. And he said, this is a marathon and not a sprint. So yes, some of these things are really more longer term projects, but certainly very worthwhile and having tremendous value. What I'd like to do, just to kind of recap where we started, kind of give you an idea of how the office came about in the first place, some of the whys behind the office, and then I'll share with you some of the accomplishments from our team. There were 2 grants that really were the catalyst for our office getting started. The City of Lincoln's American Rescue Plan ARPA grant was a significant part of that. And that was where the idea of the office kind of first originated with Dr. Illich as part of the application. And then that idea was further expanded upon by Dr. Michaelis. But it was significant that as part of this grant, which also included some structure with the Sand Hills Global Technology facility, that Dr. Illich really said that we're going to now be having dedicated space, not only in the Sand Hills Global Technology building, but in any other new facility that we build for the purposes of upskilling and reskilling. So this is really representing a substantial expansion of our workforce commitment at our college. This grant also was especially interested and focused on upskilling and reskilling underserved populations. And that is a group that our office continues to be really focused on. The second grant award is the ABA Apprenticeship Grant, which stands for Apprenticeship Building America. And this grant enabled us to launch our apprenticeship programs, something a number of us have been wanting for some time, because we're recognizing that our employers cannot get all of the graduates they would like to have from SEC. So they need to look at other pathways, including upskilling some of their own current employees, or looking for people who maybe would want to re-career. Those individuals often have families, have bills, and they can't just stop out of the workforce to dedicate their time to education. So this earn and learn model can serve a wider variety of students, and is a great opportunity for us to be pursuing. This grant, by the way, is in collaboration with 2 other community colleges, with Central Community College and with Northeast Community College. So we have really gained from the knowledge and expertise they have already had, because they started their programs before us. And it really allows us to provide a big footprint in Southeast Nebraska with these 3 colleges in terms of upskilling workforce. Now, who's members of this team in addition to myself? Just wanted to kind of take you through a little bit of who is a part of Office of Work-Based Learning. Connie Russell is the apprenticeship director, and Rod Rhodes is the administrative director. And they both were part of the leadership team for the Office of Work-Based Learning. And the Office of Work-Based Learning's leadership team was pretty much put in place by the first quarter of this year. And then in May, we added Lynette Mays. And Lynette has a wide variety of experience working with some underserved populations. She's also coordinating she's an apprenticeship coordinator, so really working more specifically with the apprentices, with the record keeping that's a vital part of any registered apprenticeship, and in maintaining relationships and with the individuals who are going to be mentors for those programs. And then in I believe it was August, Saba El-Obaidi came on board as a career coach. And I was really delighted to have her be a part of the team. Her focus as a career coach is with underserved populations, with non-traditional students. And she's been spending some office hours at the American Job Center. And just this week started office hours at Center for People. She's become trained in Accuplacer, so she'll be able to provide those services at either locations, again, creating more accessibility to our college for different populations where it may be more difficult for them to come to us. And then about a month later, Michelle Sullivan came on board, and Michelle's a project coordinator, and she's working very closely with Rod Rhodes on our DACOMs and WLTs. And as all of you who are familiar with them are aware, this is a way that we provide that industry employer connection, getting that valuable information from our employer partners. Rod's been kind of championing that for some time, but he has other pathways that he's wanting to develop as part of the Office of Work-Based Learning. So we really appreciate having Michelle being able to take on some more of the WLT and DACOM duties. And then last but not least is Michaela Murphy, who just started last month. Michaela's part-time, and her primary focus is with our grant record keeping. We have, again, those 2 large grants and a lot of data to manage, particularly for the Lincoln ARPA grant. So that's her primary focus, but she's helping the team in other ways as well. I just want to also take this time, since this is strategic planning week, just to kind of connect the dots. The things that we're doing really do connect with our strategic plan in several ways. First of all, with goal number 1, to increase enrollments and to improve access for diverse and underserved populations. You can certainly see how we're doing that with some of the team's involvement. And then in goal 4.2, there's a specific mention of having accessible dynamic apprenticeships. So now we have the resources and the people in place to provide that sort of a pathway. And then 6.3 is strengthening partnerships with our business and industry, economic and workforce development partners. So all of those are really important to the work that we're doing. And now I just want to kind of briefly get into the why. Why do we need to have more pathways? We know we have excellent credit programs. We know that they're of value to our employers, but frankly, our workforce needs more. This is from the Nebraska Chamber in their policy brief, and they've described our workforce situation as a crisis. And with nearly 2 jobs available per job seeker, they've really called on having more opportunities to upskill and educate and to build a more agile and responsive talent pipeline. Something else that we're hearing a lot is about credentialing, both locally and nationwide, and the number of adults that have some college credit but no credential has grown to what some people call an alarming rate of 40.4 million is the most recent number that I've heard. The Lumina Foundation established a goal for 60% of adults in the United States to have a quality credential beyond high school by 2025. And they're very specific in what that quality credential is. It must have transparent learning outcomes that lead to either further education or further employment. So really having an economic value tied to it. And then in Nebraska, we also have credential goals. Our state goal is to have 70% of adults having a credential of value by 2030. And we have a way to go. We have only 55.8% at this time. And then if you look at our coordinating commission in their 2023 higher education report is pointing to Nebraska's college continuing rates dropping. So the number of people that are going on from high school to college has decreased. And we also know that the largest graduating population of high school seniors was our most recent one. So we know the numbers coming from high schools is on a decline. So the recommendation from the CCPE is that we really need to target adults who don't have any kind of credential with opportunities, including stackable micro-credentials and badges that are recognized by employers. It's also imperative that we pay attention to the new citizens, the new Americans, because our Lincoln community is a refugee resettlement community. And the number of immigrant adults without a post-secondary or other quality credential is significant. In a fairly recent report, Nebraska immigrants and refugees were identified as a potential economic powerhouse, but one that we are not fully tapping into. We've also identified from this report that Nebraska is among the 10 states that have the largest share of foreign-born workers that are not even at 2/3 of the median wage. So there's great opportunities to harness skill set from a group of very hardworking individuals, but they often need additional supports. And there's so much more that we can be doing to connect these individuals to the transformative opportunities that additional education can provide. Again, another recent report is talking about the number of our population growth flatlining, and that the growth in our future as an economy in America really depends on a collaboration between education, our workforce partners, government, to work together to develop more career pathways for more students. So our new normal has become not the 18 to 20-year-old, but a much more diverse group of individuals, often individuals that have industry experience that are looking to reskill or upskill, or individuals who may be caring for families and they need a lot more flexibility in terms of being able to attain a better economic outlook for their own families' lives. So this is what is really the new normal that we're looking at now. And I'm totally stealing this from Rod Rhodes, his track map, because he knows that Dr. Illich is a runner and can relate to this and the marathon and the sprint. But we really just need more pathways to access education and training opportunities, more on and off ramps. And that's really what our office has been about, to see how can we expand those opportunities, connect more individuals to SEC, to the workforce than we have in the past. So that's enough of the kind of the why, and I'm hoping that gives you some context to why we're doing what we're doing. But here are some of the highlights that I can share with you. This week, or actually next week, we're looking at National Apprenticeship Week. And on Wednesday, we have a special signing ceremony for our Kawasaki employer partner. Kawasaki became our first employer partner, and we will be recognizing 7 of their apprentices at a ceremony on November 15th. So very excited about that. And they are excited about expanding the opportunities through apprenticeships with SEC. We are also having an Elevate Summit next week. And this summit is a statewide workforce summit that really is emphasizing opportunities with apprenticeships. And this was put on in collaboration with Southeast Community College and Connie and Lynette as part of the Elevate Apprenticeship Consortium, as well as with Central Community College and Northeast Community College. And they have some dynamic speakers. Dr. Rebecca Lake was one of the pioneers in higher education with apprenticeships at Harper College, and there are others. I know some of the folks that are on this call will be attending, and I hope a few more of you might be able to join us. The last I heard, they had over 260 people registered for this, which I think is a great number for their very first opportunity. Another highlight is our City of Lincoln ARPA scholarships. We were able to go back to the City of Lincoln and negotiate moving some of our funds to provide scholarships to help eliminate barriers to education for eligible individuals. We're just starting with this. We're already learning a lot about the different kinds of needs that we wouldn't have anticipated. You know, childcare, gas, parking, you know, for people who want to attend one of our classes downtown. These are all some of the things that we're hearing, or people who don't have access to a laptop. Just so many different needs are out there that we'll be able to address with this scholarship. SABA is working with the individuals who are requesting this scholarship funding. And I know we're going to have a lot of stories to share after we've had a couple more months of experience with this grant. Rod Rhodes is leading a committee to implement a comprehensive credit for prior learning, or CPL, a process for our college. And this seems like it should be so easy on the surface. CPL, how hard could that be? Well, there's a lot of layers to that onion, and very fortunate for Rod that there is a wonderful committee, as you can see here, of individuals that are providing a lot of insight and doing a lot of hard work to make this a reality. The committee has already provided a recommendation to increase the amount of CPL eligible credits from 66% up to 75%, based on what we're seeing from other community colleges and our Higher Learning Commission guidelines. So they're already doing some great things, and there's more that's coming through this group. We do know from a lot of research that CPL can be very attractive to adult learners, as it can help accelerate their time to completion. And adult learners really appreciate when a college can recognize that I already have skills. I don't need to take that over, when we can validate that and allow them to attain their degree much sooner. Now, everything that we are doing today, what we've done up to today and moving forward to enhance pathways and add more enrollments, involves collaboration. Certainly with our apprenticeship programs, we are not providing the training through our office. All of that is in collaboration with our credit programs, or also can also be with our continuing education workforce programs. And just to give you a couple of examples, our deans have been so responsive, which we truly appreciate. They're really wanting to be accessible to these new pathways. And when Connie was working with Kawasaki on the CDL apprentice, Kawasaki really wanted that individual to be able to take the theory portion, or the lecture portion of those classes at Kawasaki. And John Kisby and the CDL professional truck driving team bent over backwards to make that happen. And that employer was so grateful and appreciative of that. And then just this week, Connie was working with another rural employer, and our rural employers, access to SEC can often be challenging. And again, Caleb Herwick in this case was able to step up with a recommendation in order to be flexible to accommodate the needs of that rural employer and his potential apprentice. So we really appreciate those types of engagements. So we really need to be connected not only internally, but also externally. And some of these other pictures, the one at the bottom left is an example of, or excuse me, the one at the top, first of all, is our fall WLT kickoff team. And again, Rod Rhodes and Michelle Sullivan are involved with these processes, as well as the DACMs. Again, that industry employer feedback is so critical to all of the work we do at our college. So this is vital to our work, our ongoing work, and to also understand what the needs are in terms of credentialing and short-term credentialing as we move to the future. The bottom left is a meeting with the Nebraska Tech Collaborative. This is one of several statewide work groups that are plugged in with our apprenticeship hub. And really, they're talking with Connie and Lynette, as well as the apprenticeship leaders at Central Community College and Northeast Community College, looking at how apprenticeships can be a statewide solution to some of the workforce challenges that we're experiencing. In the middle is a picture of Sabo when she was working with a Healthy Families community gathering, really being present where those individuals were present to let them know about the opportunities and resources that can be provided through Southeast Community College. And at the bottom right was a meeting that was held last week. This was in Tennessee. It was a Counties for Career Success meeting, a peer meeting. And this was initiated by Sarah Hoyle, who's the director of Lancaster County Human Services. She asked us to contribute some content to a grant application. She also asked Dylan Wren to do the same from the Greater Lincoln Workforce Board. And we were one of 8 counties across the country that were selected for this year-long project. And the goal of this is to use to really work in collaboration with other cross-functional systems like our workforce, our human services systems, to benefit individuals who need greater access, who have current barriers to education and to better opportunities in workforce. So really looking forward to what's going to be transpiring with that group. I also want to mention, as you know, we've talked a lot about some of our external partners. Wait, before I get to that, I just want to mention in terms of future opportunities, certainly those statewide apprenticeship discussions are part of those, Counties for Career Success. And then those short-term training opportunities, and especially the micro-credentials or micro-pathways and the stackable or laddering credentials. And what we mean here, and what's really important to me, coming from many years in continuing education, we had a lot of adults that we served that had great experiences with workforce training, but we weren't able to tell them what's next, how they could use this to as part of their pathway to a certificate, a diploma, or degree. So those are the kinds of things we're really excited to tackle and to look at. And this was some research that just very recently came out on micro-credentialing potentially being the solution to bring back the stop-outs. So this study researched a number of students that had some credits, but they never received any kind of credential from college to find out what might entice them to come back to completion. And two things that were cited were the credit for prior learning and the micro-credentials. That whole stackability factor really tipped them over into the yes column, that yes, I would be enticed to return to college if I could access those elements. So this is just a snapshot of some of the partners that we've worked with this year and that we're going to be continuing to work with as we're continuing with the process and the projects in the Office of Work-Based Learning. A lot of these are our external partners, but I also need to stress again the value of our internal partners, with our credit program partners, our continuing education workforce solutions partners. And prior to me coming into this role, I really didn't have a lot of opportunities to access information from financial services, from our business offices. And boy, that's changed with the Lincoln ARPA grant. And those folks have been such incredible resources to us. And I've been so impressed with how responsive they are to our students. You know, they understand the immediacy that, you know, I've seen them stay longer to make sure that students are able to get the books that they need or the equipment that they need for their classes. So there's many, many partners that have worked it. I also need to give a shout out to Linda Wires, because I've got 2 big grants and I have to be managing these finances. And she's been such a tremendous resource with that too. So we can't be doing any of the things that we've been doing without all of you and without all of these external partners. So we've learned a lot in these past 11 months. We've accomplished a lot. You know, we've done a lot of foundation building, but there's more ahead, and we're really excited about the opportunities for us. And I'd be really happy to take any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, Marguerite. Feel free to send any questions for the next couple minutes through the chat. Marguerite, I have a question for you, and I might be the only one on this call who does not know the answer to this. So could you explain a little bit about the difference between micro-credentials or micro-pathways and what we've already been doing over the last couple of years with these stackable credentials? What is the distinction between those two?
It truly, there's not a lot. It's just that the micro credentials are often shorter elements, but they have to have an economic value. It might be something that, for example, could get a person started on a job. And what I'm right now thinking about our new Americans, when they're resettled here, they have 3 months to either get employment or get education. And that's just overwhelming to me. So if there is something that can give them that initial short opportunity to get employment, it's got that credential of value, but yet it stacks into something more, to that next opportunity. These are the types of things that we're looking for. There's also a lot of momentum behind making sure that our credentialing allows for economic mobility. One of the things that we found out when we were in Tennessee last week, we received a snapshot of Lancaster County from our Urban Institute, and Lancaster County's lost ground in terms of the percentage of people who are earning wages that allow them to meet the cost of living. So these are all the kinds of things that we need to be thinking about. So as you can imagine, this is going to require a collaboration with our credit program, our continuing education program, our workforce partners and industry partners, because anything that we create has to have opportunities in the workforce.
Right.
That's a great question.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, at this time, I think we will close out this session. Let's all thank Marguerite for her time and just wonderful presentation explaining some of the transformative work that the Office of Work-Based Learning has been doing over the last few months, and exciting plans for the future. Tomorrow, you won't want to miss our dual credit teams sharing about the incredible student enrollment growth and their programming that has been happening under the Division of Extended Learning. So TCA, CENCAP, other dual credit programming. So please join us again tomorrow, 12:15. Again, as a reminder, submit your mission matrix and Goal 9 recognition. Those can be done at any point this week. Thanks so much for joining, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again, Marguerite.